Welcome back, everyone, to the Complete Pineleaf. We are back here in Hootvis, where we are speaking with the various citizens here to learn about what type of stories they have. Right, Gilfrida?
Legends and stories. Aye, we here in Holtby's have our fair share of the things.
I myself have seen enough to believe most of what they say about the lands hereabout, and if you spend some time here, I do not doubt that you will too. Have you heard tell of the maiden that walks in the marshland? Her hair is golden, they say, threaded with yellow flowers, and she walks amongst the pools of the Gladden singing songs of sorrow. Well, I was with you until I heard about the songs of sorrow. Even when I was a young girl, I heard the stories of her, and strayed further from my home than I ought in hopes of seeing her. But it was for nothing. I convinced myself that the horse folk that lived in the lands long ago, from whom came the first stories of the maiden, must have mistaken the light of the water for her golden hair, and breath of the wind for the sounds of the song. I gave up seeking her. And then I was a woman grown, and a family to look after, and I left tales of the maiden to my childhood. Well, I've heard enough stories about river maidens. I've even spoken with a number of river maidens. But there is a magic in the vales, stranger. One afternoon, while I sought wildflowers amongst the river bank, I was caught out of doors too late. The sun went down, and as the last light faded, I saw her standing amongst the Gladdens. Still as a statue she was, but as I sought to look at her closely, a great drowsiness fell upon me. I blinked my eyes to clear away the fog, but then she was gone. I searched amongst the pools until it was too dark to see, at which point I had to return to Hootvis. It would not have been safe for me to remain in the bog, for then as now there are sometimes monsters about. I have not seen her again, but it lightens my heart to know that the Maiden of the Gladden is out there somewhere, singing. That is how I know the tales of her are true. Perhaps there is truth to the other tales of my people as well? All right, probably a river maiden then. I guess she could be sad for what happened to her river because I've certainly run into river maidens who are saddened by what happened to the rivers. Like we've had down at the various rivers of Gondor. Here is Eric.
For how long have my people lived by the side of the wood? Long years indeed.
Long years, for true deeds have vanished into haze of memory, taking on the feeling of legend or myth. So with the turning of the wheel, I guess. And doubt not that even the most fantastical of these tales must hold some truth within its marrow. Or do you count yourself brave enough to search for Vagari, the ghostly wanderer of the Gladden? Marhari of the horse folks did, and he was forever changed. Long ago, the horse folk of Rovanian knew the hardship of war, and they came to the vales of Anduin in desperate need. The woodsmen that lived in the vales at the time gave them food and shelter, and in return the horse folk raised no king and demanded no fealty. Instead, they lived as neighbors with the woodsmen, building a fortress of stone and timber on the island south of the old fort. This redoubt they named Avabarg, and it housed the horse folk for several generations. But they were never comfortable within the confines, and they desired a home more to their liking. I presume these horse folk eventually moved down south into what became Rohan then, which I must say would be a area more to their liking. While the horse folk remained in the vales, the woodmen told them of Vagari, a spectral figure that stalked amongst the fens as the light of the moon. The sight of him filled my people with dread, and they fled in terror. But the Horfolk were bold, and their blood ran hot. Marharu, son of the chief, went in search of Vagari. He was not seen for a year and a day, and when he finally returned, his hair was stricken white. He was clad in pale garments instead of his armor, and there was a darkness in his eye that had not been there before. He claimed to have met the wanderers and followed him for some time, but whenever he tried to speak with them, the spectral figure faded from view, only to reappear further ahead in the mist. His memory failed in the recounting of what befell him, and he spoke with confusion of the empty dwarf hold and his sorrowful song. Until the end of his days, Marharu insisted that he followed the wanderer for only a short time. He could not explain his long disappearance. The horsefolk, believing he had been ensorcered, named him Winterhair, and shunned him as a source of ill fortune. He dwelt in a hut on the edge of the Gladden, and lived to be an old man. But one day his hut was found empty, and no one can say what happened to him. Listen to the warning of Marharu, Winterhair, Pineleaf. If you encounter Vagari the Wanderer amongst the mists, turn and flee before it is too late for you. Well, with a warning like that, it's guaranteed I'm going to run into him, right? Now let's check the only person in the village who is shorter than I am. Though I must admit, not by much.
I love hearing stories.
Hello there, friend. I have not seen you around Hotvis before. Ooh, you look to be younger than I am. I am nearly a woman grown. Nearly? Yeah, what? You say that you're not a child, but a hobbit instead? I've never heard of a hobbit before. Tell me about yourself and from whence you hail, and I'll see you brought out of town and left in the woods. I'll see you brought out. I don't think that'll happen. I love hearing stories. Yes, I do. And I love telling them, too. You say that you live in a burrow in the ground? That's very like the tales that I've heard of the hole dwellers that once lived in the vales. They were small people, even smaller than you, I'd say, and they were shy and tricksy. They would vanish into the first approach. Imagine being able to move around without being seen or heard, but even more stealthy than that. Now that is what I would be like for the hole dwellers. My mother says that she heard fairy stories about the hole dwellers when she was a little girl, but none of them have been seen in hundreds and hundreds of years, if not longer. She heard that folk used to leave food and trinkets for them on the river banks, and that sometimes when they went to check, the gifts would be gone. You know what? If you were just a little smaller, I would almost think that you might be related to one of the hole dwellers. But these days, they are just a myth, and you're in flesh and blood, so I suppose that is not possible. Oh well. I have to investigate this. Were there hobbits around here at some point? Oh yeah. Didn't Smeagol come from this area? Anyway, I wonder where they went. The hole dwellers, I meant. I think I know where they went. Have you heard anything about them in your own land? They're all over the place in our land. What do you call it? The Shire? I think perhaps they perfected the art of hiding, and now no one can find them. Either that or their smallness is exaggerated. I'd wager they're still somewhere in the Vales, just waiting for a child smart and clever enough to see them. I hope that's me. Yes, I do. Okay, well, I'll keep an eye out for the hole dwellers, who are probably just old stories of hobbits that used to live here. Interesting tales. Not that I haven't run into hobbits, plenty of those. River spirits. a few of those, and even an occasional wandering spirit that can chill the bones.
Did you enjoy hearing my people's myths and legends?
Yes, I am pleased that the bear folk came to our aid during the recent battle, for if they had not and my people were slain, then traditions would surely vanish with us. Thank you for helping us with the hunt, my friend. I look forward to seeing you again and hearing your own stories of the wider world as you listen to ours. Farewell and good fortune to you. All right, well, I suppose I should go back to the Bjorninghuis and bring the tolls. Or, actually, before I do that, how about if I search the crossway? Yeah, the forest road. Wasn't there somebody I was supposed to speak with out there? I believe this is the crossroads that is just ahead here. No sign of Harscore. But I do smell honey. And what is this? An abandoned honey cake. A honey cake? Wait, that was a trap to catch Bjornings? Oh boy! The orcs are baiting traps with honey cakes! That is crazy. Well, I'm gonna have to report that. If you find a honey cake just out of nowhere, it could be a trap set by orcs. Now, of course, I'm not too sure that I want to trap and corner a Bjorning, though, especially if it were an orc, because I have a feeling the Bjornings will take exception to that. Now, let's check the old fort. I presume that they're talking about the ford that leads to Vegbar. So let's see if there is anything over here that is useful in determining what's going on. Find no evidence that a wagon has passed across the old ford. Well then, how about the path to the ruins of Hathodian? So I would think that it would be long well known by now that the bridge is out. I believe the turn off to the bridge should be somewhere around here. Not that you'll necessarily maintain a road that doesn't... that you necessarily maintain a road that leads to a ruined bridge, unless you plan on rebuilding the bridge, of course. Slain orc. What's going on here? The mauled orc has been rent by countless claw marks and deep gashes. Sounds like the work of a Bjorning to me. Let's go and follow the path. Yes, I suppose it could... more orcs? That it could have been done by a warg, but I think a Bjorning is more likely. Alright, well here's the old bridge. Oh! Speaking of Bjornings, he's not in very good shape, it looks like. Who are you, and why do you stand before me? Speak quickly, or you will know the wrath of the Light of Bjorn. Actually, I was sent here to look for you.
There are goblins in the hills on... and they are an unusually cunning sort.
Yes, there are goblins in the hills, outsider, and they're unusually cunning. I was laid on the road, and before I could overpower them, I was rendered unconscious. You weren't happening looking at abandoned honey cakes, were you? When I awoke, I realized that I had been borne away to a cave in the hills. In the darkness, I spied some of the goblins feasting upon the horses. Deeper in the cave, I heard others prepare a fire, and they shouted and cheered for a feast of man flesh. My senses returned. I rose from the ground in anger and charged my skin. All at once, the goblins seemed to discover that they had not captured one of the woodsmen as they had thought. It was a mistake the survivors will not soon forget. Yes, before I fled the caves, I slew a few of their number, but I was forced to abandon what remained of the provisions. The goblins appeared to answer to one called Derbkat, if such nonsense is even a name in their tongue. I think without him, these goblins would not seem so clever. Slay this Derbkat. Slay him and recover what he has stolen from us. All right, savage sealed provisions. All right, from Feel Smoke. Okay, I'll find this Feel Smoke. I will curry covered sealed provisions because the unsealed ones have probably been spoiled by now based on orc behavior. So let's go and see if we could settle a little bit of a hunger for vengeance. I think this may be the camp that I had visited earlier. So let's take care of these. Shapak High. Yeah, I remember this place. Well, it looks like it's time to give them what for and get some of those provisions back. Oh, come on. Oh, come on! Really? Right? Come on. Just time out. It's really a nuisance when they resist attempts to interrupt them. All right. Defeat 4 of them. Wonderful. Simply wonderful. Well, I suppose that was inevitable. I noticed, though, a lack of a quest to kill the leader of this group. Oh, come... Okay. That time, just spend that. Not even try to do the free interrupt in that case. Because those seem to fail too often. Alright, let's see. At least at this level, at lower levels, I don't think I've ever seen them resist the attempt to interrupt them, but it seems like at this level it happens. Alright, let's take care of this warrior and, yeah, start to pick up some of those provisions. Find the sealed ones. Since those are the ones that we are hoping are going to be in good enough shape still. There you go. Because they want to actually be able to get the good stuff for a change. That's for you. And now for you, then I can start picking this up. Oh, okay. Let me be ready just... Alright, are you ready yet? Nope. Alright. Let's pick up... Oh, that's spoiled provisions. Oh. Hasker told you that Sharpshire looted many provisions from the final days of the war. What remains of the provisions have grown spoiled and rotten to the taste of men, but they have only become more palatable to the orcs. Okay, well then let's get rid of the spoiled provisions. Okay, here are the unspoiled ones. Alright, there is still some good stuff here. So I'm supposed to find the... return the good stuff and... Oh. Alright, Defilers. Deathseer! So, reminds me of the Deathmongers from Skirmishes. Dodge, 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 dodge. That's what they all say. Whatever dodge means. Or are you trying to tell me to dodge? Never could be too sure with an orc. Never could understand that accent. Alright, here we go. Sealed provisions. Good. That is. And destroy the ones. And once I'm done with that, I can return. Oh, wait. There's a cave here. Maybe the leader of these orcs is living here somewhere. And there may be some additional crates here also, because I haven't seen them all yet. So it's time to explore a little bit of a cave. See if I can find this leader of theirs. And keep them from doing nasty things like setting honey cake traps. I was just thinking, if that trap was meant for a Bjorning, then why did those orcs think that he was a woodsman rather than a Bjorning then? Obviously they failed to think about something. Alright, let's see this. Nah, that's spoiled. I guess I need to go deeper. Ooh, I thought I found all the provisions, but looky here. We have a rather large stockpile here. I suspect the leader might be here around somewhere. For the last time, I told you to keep your hands off of that! Ooh, you'll taste better than this filth! Oh, boy. So you think I have good taste or that I'll taste good? I bet you thought you'd seen the last of us, but Moria is ours again. Well, but Moria is nothing. I shall have the beard of the dwarf that slew the lord of the caves. Enough! If I'll not fall to the likes of you. Oh well. Let's get back to our score. This is what I was able to salvage.
I hope these provisions will be enough. Once I return to the lodge, I will tell Grimbjorn what has happened.
I feared the goblins would get the better of you, but I know now that Grimbjorn sent you on this errand. I hope these provisions will be enough. Once I return to the lodge, I'll tell Grimbjorn what happened and see that more provisions are sent to Hotvis. And in that time, let Durka think on his cowardice. What he had done will not go unanswered by the line of Bjorn. Deliver what you have found to Rikmar, and I'll offer my apologies to the people of Hotvis. Oh, and offer, yes. Okie dokie. I'll deliver the sealed provisions. I'm back.
Did you find our score? And what of the provisions?
Our score is a bit worn from an attack by the orcs, and I was able to recover some of the provisions. Thank you. Our need is great, but this is more than enough for now, Pineleaf. I'll see to it that none of Hotvis goes in hungry tonight. But I must admit, those orcs sound more cunning than most. If we were meant to become the unwitting meals, I'm glad they've been driven out of the lands. Let the skin changers and elves see to them, I think.
If only that were the end of our troubles.
That's not the end of their troubles. What else is there? We have to find that out in the next episode of The Complete Pineleaf.